Good morning, everyone. This is the Dos Leprechauns podcast, season 10, episode 4. And as we've been announcing the last couple of days, we're excited to be joined by former Notre Dame wide receiver and now author that we'll be talking about today, Matt Shelton. Matt, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate the time and look forward to chatting about some Notre Dame football.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, all right, you're writing a book. First of all, what made you get into the book writing business, and give everybody kind of just a really brief overview of your book.
Yeah, so I played at Notre Dame from 2001 to 2005, and one of the most unique, tumultuous type of eras in Notre Dame history with the 5 coaches in 5 years. So I'm sitting in a hospital bed recovering from fallout from surgery that almost took my life. And I'm sitting there looking at those last couple of years saying, man, this is a lot of stuff that's happened. So I had plenty of time sitting in the hospital bed for about 6 weeks, twice a day, 2 hours a pop. So 4 hours a day for 6 weeks, and just start writing everything down. So that's kind of where the idea came from, is sitting in the hospital bed, just reflecting on life and how much, uncertainty and change had happened in my time at Notre Dame.
So yeah, we'll get to back to the book here in a minute, but you talked about a very tumultuous time in Notre Dame history, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I've been aware of the time, obviously lived through it, but also read your synopsis of the book, and I actually forgot one of the coaches that you had. So can you tell everybody the different coaches that you did play for?
Yeah, sure. So I was recruited by Bob Davie.
Okay.
Start off with good old Bob. And then had OLeary for a week. So George OLeary jumped on board for an entire week. So quick hitter, and was in and out fast. And then had Tyrone Willingham for a couple of years. And then when he was let go by the university, we had Kent Baer. And Kent Baer was there for a month. He's got a record of 0-1, but we fought the best we could. And then I had Charlie Weiss. So I ended up having 5 in those 5 years.
So not a lot of people – well, actually, probably a lot of people, but a lot of younger fans, like my son here, Nate, doesn't know who the heck George OLeary is. Can you talk about that couple of weeks or week or whatever it was that Coach OLeary was with the program? Did you even talk to him?
Oh, yeah. And that's why I count him. I mean, if you look in the history of Notre Dame, he's going to be there as a coach. Yeah, it was a week. He doesn't have a game under his belt, but he was officially signed a contract, had a multi-year deal, multi-millions of dollars. And he signed on board. He was a fiery Irish background type of guy out of Georgia Tech. And then there were some resume issues that transpired, and he copped to those. And, university is an upstanding place to be, and don't want to be associated with some things that aren't necessarily true within that document that he's been hunting and showing people for years. So they let him go, and they parted ways on good terms. But yeah, we had team meetings, we had individual meetings. A lot of people don't know this, but it's in the book. Probably about 10 or 20% of the team were ready to leave the university.
Oh, wow.
Because of George OLeary, because of that hire. They had bad experience with him on the recruiting trail and didn't like their interactions and knew he wasn't the coach for them. So there's a lot of guys from the South were actually about to turn in their papers to Dr. Kevin White to leave the university.
Wow. What a crazy story. So Coach OLeary leaves, the hunt is back on. They go over to Palo Alto and they get Ty Willingham. Can you give everybody kind of a rundown of what it was like to play for Coach Willingham?
Yeah, that was an interesting time. I remember that first meeting we had with Tyrone, or Coach Willingham. Dr. White gets up there and he's at the podium and he's talking and he introduces this long litany of things that Coach Willingham has done. He calls him up, and then next thing I hear is a gentleman up there going, Tyrone's going to do this. Tyrone's going to do that. Tyrone is above the board. Tyrone is X, Y, and Z. And I'm sitting there looking around as I sit down to take this all in. I'm going, well, who's this if this is not Tyrone? So I didn't realize that he spoke in first person. So it took me a while to figure out this is our coach.
Wow.
So it was a unique start in that sense of uncertainty had just come to a reality that this is our guy. I'm taking my seat. And, you had a lot of sayings, a lot of, good rah-rah cheerleading type things. But at the end of the day, he's a very monotone type gentleman, very poised, cool, calm, collect. This is the way it's going to be. This way or the highway. I really enjoyed playing for him when I actually started to play. I was passed over by multiple guys that were his guys, and that's in the book. I talk about that. A lot of the Davies boys, quote unquote, were passed over for other guys. Not to say they weren't talented, not to say they weren't going to beat me out to start anyways, and I needed more time to mature. I mean, who knows how that unfolds, but some of those shots weren't given up front, and his guys were always given a chance before the Davies boys, without question. And I only get a shot. Really, I only got my shot when nobody was really doing anything. And they said, you know what, we need to start pushing the secondary and take the top off, and let's let the fast guy go.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Sure.
So I don't want to bury the lead here, but in your, you talk about some of the highlights in your book. You talk about the injury that you had that almost cost you your life. Can you talk about that just a little bit again? I want people to read the book, but also I think it's kind of a cool thing, not cool, but it's an interesting topic to cover, to kind of get into.
Yeah, for sure. It's, it's a part of sports. Everyone goes through the injury bug, and one of my best friends, Darius Walker, running back, obviously you guys know who he is. He's one of those fortunate few that really didn't have a ton of big, serious injuries. He had some ankles here and there, but no surgeries, nothing bad. I was the opposite of that spectrum, right? I had 2 ACL surgeries. It was the one that I got at Notre Dame when I had my second ACL. It was Christmas Day. We were practicing for the Inside.com Bowl, and no one wanted to be there. So you just knew something was going to happen because no one was in the mood to be there. Everyone's playing a little. We don't have a coach. We do have a coach, but he's not here. He's chasing the Super Bowl. Charlie's not here, but Kent's here. So a lot of emotions, ups and downs, and Kent Bears did a heck of a job coaching us at that time. So injury bug hits, and man, it was a tough one for me. Christmas Day, and your family's there, are on their way to see you and watch the game, and now you can't play anymore, so the rug's kind of taken out from under you. But man, when that injury hit, everything kind of fell apart for me a little bit, and then you sit back in the injury room, medical room, and all your teammates come in, and that's when the emotions hit, and you got tears coming down your eye at that point. I never cried when I got hurt. I cursed like a sailor, and go that route to kind of get all that emotion out and roll around on the ground, but no tears fall. But as soon as I see a teammate, man, and the sorrow in their face, that locker room is truly a family. So, that helped bring everything together for me. As far as, that locker room truly is a family. Everyone, whether they liked me or not on the team, in that moment, they cared, and that's one thing about sports that I think everyone can relate to. But when that injury bug hits, the team rallies around you. And then I had surgery, and a couple weeks after surgery, I'd lost about 20 pounds in a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe. I was having half a bite of a carrot, baby carrot a day, wasn't eating much. But in my mind, everything I was going through with this injury was the exact same stuff I went through on the last one. A lot of athletes are hard-headed and stubborn and think, no, I've been through this. I'll get through it again. The next thing I know, I'm on the operating table and, fighting for my life. And I wake up and the doctor says, one more day, you would have lost your leg and you probably would have died.
Wow. That's insane. I can't even imagine getting that news, but you bounce back, like your book is called, Rising Through Every Fall. I love that title, by the way. That's awesome. I think that it's going to be a really inspirational piece to a lot of people, I think. And it's cool that it's coming from somebody that, there's been so many great stories in Notre Dame of guys that have overcome adversity and kind of come up from maybe being a scout team guy and, making plays like you did. So Nate, did you want to ask about your?
Yeah. Could you just talk about your Notre Dame record that still stands?
Yeah. So actually, it was that Christmas Day, that bowl, Inside.com bowl. Christmas Day, I tear the ACL, and then the next day or two or whatever it was, I get the news that I was one catch away from breaking the record for most yards per catch in a season at the University of Notre Dame. And that's when everything just kind of drops. I'm like, are you kidding me? One catch away, I get an ACL, I can't play. And that's when my mind starts working and racing, and start talking to the medical staff, doctors, and I convinced them to let me take a shot. Is there anything we can do? And they said, look, you really can't hurt yourself too much more. So if you can get approval from Bear and Weiss and everyone you need to, you can get your shot. So I needed one catch for better than -7 yards to break that record.
And you got it.
I did.
Yeah.
So I ended up averaging 25.8 yards a catch that season.
Wow. And of course, so then Brady Quinn was thrown to you, right?
You got a cannon, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you think about some of the guys that you played with and played against, are there still, you mentioned Darius Walker, are there still some of the guys from the team that you stay in touch with? I know that Dr. Bruton did your forward. So who else do you still stay in contact with? Who are you guys kind of have a chat group going? How's that go?
I would say there's a core group of maybe 10, 15 guys that I stay in touch regularly. Other guys, we kind of come in and out. I think it's like every guy relationship that's out there, whereas, some seasons go through your life and you reconnect throughout it. But there's a core group that I do stay in touch with, a number of those guys. And it's not like we chat every day, but when we do meet up and we do say hello and do jump on the phone, whatever, it's like no time has passed. It truly is a family and a brotherhood type thing. DJ Fitzpatrick and I, is a kicker back during my time, and I talk all the time, and Dan Stevenson and Darius, and a lot of those guys, like I said. So
I know you mentioned when we were offline, you're living in Tennessee. Besides being an author, what are you doing? What are you up to?
So for the last 13 years, I've been out in Los Angeles, and I've done a number of different things out there, just all in sales. I've been in sales ever since I left university. Did medical device, pharmaceutical, and most recently in the last 8 years, been in commercial real estate finance. And now I'm in between jobs. I left LA, decided, I want to get back to the roots, move back to somewhere where I've got some more family. So back in Tennessee, and last couple of months, I've actually just taken time to write this book in the hills of Tennessee. It's amazing how my writing changed from being in the thick of LA to the hills of Tennessee. It's more clarity, more everything out here.
I can imagine. So, depending on how this book goes, obviously, I mean, is this something that you think might be a niche for you? Is this something you might continue to do in terms of writing books?
I'll let the readers tell me that, huh?
Yeah.
But I hope so. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was, it was a grind, though. It was an inner battle, an inner struggle to write. And, what I found during this time, and I think you have this as an athlete sometimes as well, just I know I did because of how many coaches I had, kind of that imposter syndrome. There were times during my career I didn't think I was good enough to be there, not because I didn't have the talent, but because I was getting beat down so much. I didn't know if I could continue.
Sure.
So writing's kind of been like that. There are days where you're just stuck and you kind of beat yourself down a little bit. So to fight through some of those was, kind of reminding me a little bit of those times where I had to fight through a lot of coaches in adversity. But I loved it, and hopefully the readers will too. And if they do, look for my next topic.
Awesome. One of our viewers, Matt, actually Fighting Irish Faithful, he's one of our co-podcasts under the Ghost Leprechauns umbrella, wants to know, will Matt be coming to any home games this season?
I am going to do my best to make it to all of them.
Awesome.
It's a short 7-8 hour drive from Tennessee, so it's not bad. Leave out on a Friday, get there Friday night. Got to figure out where to stay because I haven't planned for anything yet. All I've been doing is focused on the book, so I might be sleeping in the car because all the hotels are done.
Well, yeah, that's a story for another day. Me and Nate had some experience sleeping in a car this last trip, so
you got to do what you got to do to see games sometimes.
Amen. Well, yeah, I definitely hope that you'll be able to get out, and hopefully Hamas will have you out and do a book signing for one of those games. I know that they do that for a lot of the home games. Lisa Kelly's there a lot, Rudy's there a lot, Digger Phelps. I think it would be awesome to get Matt Shelton out there to be one of the meet and greet people at the bookstore.
I love it. I've already been in touch with him, and we're working on it.
And Fighting Irish Faithful says you can stay at his house in Greenwood. So it looks like you got
my man.
Can you, Matt? Again, I don't want to give too much away about the book. I'm excited to read it, but can you tell the viewers and listeners what else should they look for in this book? There's so many books out there. It seems like there's a lot of Notre Dame books coming out kind of in the last 5 to 10 years. What makes this one a little bit more special and something that people can't miss?
Well, I think we've already kind of really touched on what makes it different and unique is that aspect of the 5 coaches. And then take it back a little further, my recruiting class of 2001, there were 22 of us, I think 19 scholarship, 3 preferred walk-on. So something around that early 20 number there. Who can tell this story? There are only 8 of us that stayed from 01 to 05. So there are only 8 people in the history of Notre Dame football that can tell this specific story. And then you look at it on top of that, name one other program that's had 5 coaches in 5 years. I don't think there's any. So I think whether you're a Notre Dame fan or you're not, you're going to take something away from it. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you're going to love it because it's got a lot of Notre Dame things, a lot of behind the scene. If you're not a Notre Dame fan, I think you walk away going, well, hell, that's a hell of a story, number one. Number two, they're going to appreciate the turmoil and the roller coaster that is Notre Dame of that era.
Sure. No, you hit the nail on the head. There was just so much going on. And you obviously, you have some interest in going back to games. Do you still stay up with the program and what's going on with the program, how Coach Freeman's doing? What are your thoughts on where we're at right now?
I got to tell you, I wish I played for Freeman. If I could have 5 years under Freeman, I think I would have been a different player. I think a lot of people would. It seems like a player coach that has a firm backhand when he needs to, but he's there for his guys. I think he's built up a great staff around him, and I look forward to seeing what they can do this year. When you've got this NIL and you've got the transfer portal, there are a lot of different faculties that go into what makes up a football team these days. Like 2 years ago when we played Marshall at the beginning of kind of the portal era, I'm sitting there going, well, it's Marshall. This should be easy. No question about it. Easy win. Had my couple drinks here at Sonny McLean's in Santa Monica with Jason and Pandora and just have some drinks and relax. Don't even need to watch it. Just have fun. And it was a battle. And they ended up beating us, and that's because of the transfer portal. So, we're looking at Northern Illinois where you're thinking, okay, that should be an easy game. But you have no idea. Their transfer portal changes the dynamic of everything. Because a 5-star recruit maybe didn't make it at Michigan. Now he's at Northern Illinois, and we don't even know about it until game day. As fans.
Yeah. Right. No, that's true. That's a great point. All right, Matt, last thing here is tell everybody where, first of all, they can stay in touch with you, and then how people can go ahead and get your book when it does come out.
Sure. So my handle on Instagram, Facebook, Matt Shelton 82 for personal. And then for the book, it's Rising Through Every Fall. And you can find the book for pre-order right now, risingthrougheveryfall.com. Do unsigned, signed copies on there. Then it'll be available on Amazon. And then ebook is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble now for pre-order.
All right. We are going to drop that in the comments, and we'll put it in the link when we have the show recorded. That way people can get to it pretty easily, because I definitely want to see you be successful with this book. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to read it and share it with other folks. I
appreciate it, guys. Thank you for the time and the interest.
Absolutely. You have a great day, and go Irish. We'll talk to you later.
Go Irish. See you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. So that was our interview with Matt Turbo Shelton. I did not know that record was his. That's pretty interesting. You learn something new every day. Nate, what do you think? Any takeaways?
Yeah, it was a great interview. It's great to see how connected everybody is with Notre Dame still. Just how I feel like Freeman coming back just, has brought people back. Some of the tough years in the 2010, I guess, era, we can call it. Freeman's bringing them back, and it's just cool to see.
Definitely. So it's been a little bit quiet in Notre Dame land in terms of, I thought we were going to have a couple additional commitments here recently, but it looks like we have 3 that are going to be dropping here in the next couple of weeks collectively that are guys that obviously Notre Dame has extreme interest in. The first of which, kind of the elephant in the room, is Derrik Meadows. There's been some information that's come out that apparently he was pretty much locked in to going to LSU, which is unfortunate for many reasons. But it appears that Coach Freeman must have had some magic that he was able to work. And Meadows has kind of reconsidered, and now we're looking at maybe an opportunity still. So Nate, what's your read? I know you've kind of been deep into this recruitment with Meadows, kid out of Bishop Gorman in Vegas, one of the top programs in the country. So what's your read on Meadows? Do we have a shot? What are your thoughts?
As of what day was it? Sometime last week, I think it was 100%. There's no way he's coming to Notre Dame. And I think the coaches and just the university as a whole just knew that. And, I think Freeman made a last final push and, swayed Meadows to come and, think about his options. And I think that's why he pushed back his commitment a little bit. I'm not saying he's locked in for Notre Dame or anything like that. But I think he's definitely considering Notre Dame more than he did like a week ago.
Sure. Okay. No, that's fair. I mean, I know the commitment ceremony is scheduled for next Saturday, July 20th. So it'll probably be carried on Bleacher Report. So hopefully that'll be some good news for us. What about the other two receivers that are guys that the staff is looking at that have some commitments coming up here pretty soon?
I mean, we were feeling pretty good about Hines. I don't think that's going to go our way, I'll say. On Monday, I think that's when the commitment is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to go our way on Monday. But we're feeling good about Dylan Robinson, so that's a good thing. But Hines, I would say he's not going to come to Notre Dame. That would be my guess.
And that's unfortunate. I do feel like last year we were talking at this very moment really about the wide receivers, and there's a lot of young guys. You had Rico Flores. Oh my gosh, Jaden Greathouse, obviously, who's still with us, but Rico left, and you have some guys that you thought would contribute right away that now are no longer part of the team, and that's obviously unfortunate. But you look at what we have right now, and it's absolutely insane. I mean, Cam Williams is a guy that I think could be truly the next great Notre Dame wide receiver. He's big, good possession guy. He can burn your corner. He's just a complete player. I would be very surprised if we don't see him on the field quite a bit this year to support guys like Bo Collins and Chris Mitchell and Daniels and guys like that. And Faison. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm not worried for the first time in a very long time about wide receiver. What about you?
No, I'm not either. And I think they're going to be comfortable with rotating guys in there. I think in years previous, they've been a little conscious to put guys out there that, frankly, weren't ready. They were too little as freshmen, but I think these guys they come into Notre Dame, they get on the program, and they're good to go. They're excited to go, which is a huge part.
Sure.
And I think, getting those guys in there, getting them this action is going to be huge for some of these bigger games down the line because, we're playing I think Florida in a few years. I think that was just announced. I feel like Bama in a few years.
6 years, yeah.
Yeah, Ohio State. They're going to start to become one of our
Michigan State back on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly. Michigan State. Yeah. It's going to be preparing us for those bigger games, frankly. There's probably only 3 of those this year.
Yeah.
3 or 4. So I think this year is going to be a perfect year to get those freshmen in there and get them ready.
Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. And you look at, the nucleus that's being built. You've got CJ Carr that'll most likely be the guy next year once Riley Leonard wins this national championship, hopefully, knock on wood. And then right after that, I mean, geez, Deuce Knight. What can't you say about Deuce Knight? He's won every preseason award you can win. He's been – the accolades just continue to come in. Somehow he's still not a 5-star. I really do think that'll change. You got Noah Grubb coming in after that. I mean, it's pretty special. And like Matt Shelton, who's on the show, mentioned, the transfer portal has changed everything. So as excited as I get about recruiting sometimes and some of these guys that commit, they could leave the next day because of NIL and the portal and some of these coaches that like to play, a little bit more on the dirty side, which – The good thing is that our new AD, Paul Bavikwa, has already shown his commitment to making Notre Dame relevant in the NIL and transfer portal business, right? I mean,
I think we're playing hardball, right? We're playing hardball with other teams. We're not getting stomped on. We're stomping on guys.
It's interesting just right off the bat with Coach Denbrock coming back. I mean, you beat out an SEC school, an SEC power school, to bring back his services as the OC when last year the guy that we supposedly wanted for OC, we didn't get because of a money issue. So you're already seeing those immediate benefits. And I think that with the money game is out there now, it's just going to be a thing. And some people hate it. I don't love it, but it is what it is. And it's great to see that Notre Dame's getting with the times when I think there were some people that were worried that they wouldn't, right? Yeah. So it's an exciting time. So we are going to talk about one more topic that we are super pumped about. First of all, if you're listening to this later, tomorrow, July 14th is Nate's birthday. He'll be 21. So buy him a shot, buy him a beer, buy him a hot dog, whatever you want. But 21 years old for this big dude right here. I can't freaking believe it. I was watching one of our first interviews we did. It was with Isaac Rochelle back in 2016, I think. And Nate had this little squeaky voice and he was a little tiny dude. And now he's this big monster and actually knows what he's talking about. So it's pretty cool. But anyways, the other exciting thing that's coming up is Monday, the release date for NCAA 25, the long-awaited return of one of the greatest video games of all time. I'm not a huge video game guy, but I love Madden, and I loved NCAA. I mean, I used to have some battles with my brother-in-law on NC2A, and obviously I was playing with Notre Dame, and he was playing with UCLA and sometimes USC just to piss me off. But I can't wait, Nate. What are you thinking? Like, do you think this will be as epic as we all hope it will be? Do you think it's like, oh man, my expectations are too high? What's your read?
I've said this online, just on my personal stuff. It could be the worst game possible. So, like gameplay wise, everything wise, it's going to be perfect for me because we've waited. Last game came out about this time in 2014, so that's 10 years. Yeah, that's 10 years without this franchise, and people were still like religiously playing NCAA 14. So it's nuts that it's back. It's just weird. Like I know when that first tweet came out from the college football in like 2021, I think it was, said, "Oh, we're finally back." A lot of people were like, probably not going to happen. Which I mean, it makes sense. Like, it's EA Sports doesn't do a great job at video games. It's just the truth because they have such a monopoly on Madden and stuff like that. That's a different story. But Monday's going to be a huge day for the gaming world. So the early release is going to be Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah, it's 100% confirmed. If you pre-ordered the deluxe edition, it's going to be early release is going to be 3 days early, but they're going to release it Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And then regular release will come out Thursday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern. So the full release will be on Friday if you didn't pre-order.
We pre-ordered, right?
Yeah.
All right. So if you're interested in playing against us, or Nate mainly, because I suck at video games, I try, but I suck. What's your gamer tag?
It's Cena 15 time on PS5. I know it's goofy. I get it.
Now, I respect the John Cena retirement tour coming up, but yeah, Cena 15 time on PS5. So if you want to get beat by Nate or crush me, Cena 15 time, and we'll have some fun out there. So hopefully you guys are jumping on that. I saw a little snippet, I think we posted it, of Notre Dame playing and scoring a touchdown, and the detail that I saw already is bonkers. Like touchdown Jesus, they did a great job with that. I mean, it looks really awesome.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Let's see here. Sorry I'm late, boys. Baseball tournament all summer. My PS5 name is I_am_garbage man. Add me. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to put that on the Rich. That's Rich Dutcher. Bill Hackett, 1988 national champion, joining us way late. Bill, what the heck, man? Just kidding. Thanks for jumping on, Billy. Number 18 coming up soon. It's coming up, man. Where are we at? 48 days. So 30 days until we get Bill Hackett on the countdown. So, by the way, is there anybody that you guys want to see on the countdown that maybe we haven't thought of? It's been really cool. We've had a couple of folks message us on Dose Leprechaun saying, hey, don't forget about so-and-so. And it's somebody that, quite frankly, we didn't have on our radar to put on the countdown. So if there's somebody that you guys would like to see that maybe isn't like a name that everybody thinks about but played a big role at Notre Dame, drop us Golden Tate obviously is going to be there, dude. Come on. Drop us a line and we'll let you know, and we'll try to get that person on there. It's been fun hearing some of these stories. Like I'm trying to think of a couple. There's been a couple stories from individuals on the post of, I had a class with this guy and he was great on the field and off. And one of my favorites is always when we post about John Foles. We have Nick Foley, his son, just a really great dude who shares it and still has that excitement for seeing his dad, who played at Notre Dame as a linebacker and just an absolute beast of a human on special teams. So it's always great to see that. And we're looking forward to 46 more days to count down. Some people are saying that we have our dates wrong. I can tell you that we don't, because here's the deal. It is currently 48. Yeah, 48 days till Notre Dame football, which means that in 48 days, it will be 0 days. So that means game day will be game day in 0 days, right? So we're right. If you want to follow the others, that's fine too. More power to you. But we stick with ours being 0, being on the actual game day, which is Saturday. So that's lining up that way. And now we have number 0 players, Braden Lindsey, Xavier Watts. So we'll have some guys to recognize actually on game day. We've got some fun ones coming up, man. Tomorrow we've got a very special one that we'll be announcing on the pages, I should say. So we're excited to see some of these guys as we count down. So if you have somebody specific you want to see, drop it in the comments, drop it in our inbox. We'd love to try to get everybody recognized, and especially if it's somebody that's maybe related to you or a friend of yours, let's get them on there. Abraham Gallegos on Facebook says, what are your season predictions? Abraham, I believe he's saying that he has us at 12-0. So Nate and I have been going back and forth on this quite a bit. I think the ceiling is 12-0. I think the team definitely has the potential and the talent and the coaching and the schedule lined up to go 12-0. I'm going to say 11-1. I can see a slip up somewhere, whether it be A&M, which I'm starting to feel more confident that we win that one. Florida State, and I can't believe I'm having to say this out loud, but it's the truth, or at SC. SC reloaded with their coaching staff. They got some pretty good guys in the portal, and they're still SC. They still have some great talent. Now, the depth is going to be an issue once again there. They're going to be playing an absolutely brutal schedule in some cold games, and then we get them last. So who knows how healthy these teams will be. But I'm sitting somewhere around 11-1, 10-2. I think anything less than 10-2, and there's something went haywire, right? Like if we go anything less than 10-2, something didn't go right. And, hopefully people can remain calm and know that Freeman still has this thing going in the right direction. But I'm going to stick with my 11-1. I think we get into the playoffs with an 11-1, because you look at the schedule and everybody's like, oh, it's an easy schedule this year. It's not an easy schedule this year. You got to go to Georgia Tech, which this guy's worried about. Mm-hmm. You got to play Louisville again at home. Louisville's not a bad team, guys. Brian Brom has that team rocking and rolling. Got a lot of the guys coming back to beat us last year. So you got Louisville, you got SC, you got Stanford. I mean, Stanford shouldn't be too bad. Like Shelton said, Northern Illinois, like who knows what can happen, right? It's just college football will never be the same. It's not going to just be your perennial powers that have absolute guaranteed victories on certain Saturdays. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to sit with 11-1. Nate, where are you at?
I think I'm sitting where you're sitting, 11-1. I'm leaning towards 12-0 though. Just because, and I'm leaning more towards 12-0 because I think once we start playing at home, I think it's 8 weeks in a row where we don't go on the road at all.
Yeah.
So that's
crazy.
That helps us out, and it doesn't even matter who we're playing at home, and that's huge.
Yep.
But I think the team is just too good not to lose more than 2 games, in my opinion, would be a huge failure.
Sorry.
That's my either hot take, controversial take, whatever you want to take it. I think this year is going to be the opening to our playoff window. And there's teams in hockey, baseball, all sports that have these playoff windows. I think for the next 3 years, you're going to see Notre Dame in the playoffs. And I think this year it's just about getting our foot in there, winning 1 game, 2 game, whatever it is. Natty, I'm not putting a limit on it, but if we don't get to those points, we just have to realize we're a young team that's going to get there. You got to get in first before you can win the whole thing. You're not going to win the whole thing every year. So,
no, good take, Nate. Abraham Gallegos from another question here. Do you think Derrik Meadows chooses the Irish next Saturday? I'm going to say no. I don't think he does. I think we get Dylan Robinson. I don't think we get Hines, and I don't think we get Meadows. I think, unfortunately, as much as Freeman's going to try to pour it on, and obviously 99.9% of the people that are going to watch this, or listen to this would choose Notre Dame over anybody. But with the NIL being what it is, I think our old buddy Brian Kelly's probably going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at him for 2 reasons. One, because Derrik Meadows is a freak of nature player and is going to be a great player, but also because it'll be a victory over Notre Dame off the field that he has to bounce back from with, losing Denbrock. So, I unfortunately think Meadows is going to be LSU bound. We're still going to cover it. Hope that he chooses Notre Dame, but I think he picks up an LSU hat and commits to Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Bill Hackett. We don't have the best team in the country, we don't have to be the best team in the country, just the best team in the stadium that day. And he signed it as LH, which is his coach, Lou Holtz. That's from Billy Hackett, 1988 national champion.
That's another thing that adds with the new playoff structure. I mean, a 10-ranked team can beat a 2-ranked team.
100%.
It's like college basketball, like some of these teams shouldn't be losing to NC State or whatever at home, but they're going to.
Plus, in reality, is there really a team this year that is like a world beater?
I'd say yes, but
Ohio State.
I think there's 2. I think Ohio State and Georgia are going to be the top 2 teams at the end of it.
All right. That's fair. I mean, obviously Ohio State still has a lot of weapons, and they had a good results from the portal. good recruiting. They're always going to be great. You know, it is what it is. Georgia, I don't know, man. I'm not. I mean, obviously defensively, but I don't know. We'll see.
You just never count out Georgia. That's
true. But I don't think Bama is a world beater this year. They'll be good, but I don't think they'll be a world beater. Fighting Irish Faithful, our affiliate podcast, chimed in with LSU and Brian Kelly to go 8-5 this year. Can you imagine the chaos that will ensue in Baton Rouge if Kelly goes 8-5 this year?
Well, the crazy thing is, I hope that they go 7, 6, and 1.
Who do they tie?
SC. I don't want either team to
that's
win.
right. I forgot they played them first.
I can't.
Gosh, you got to cheer for the refs in that one.
Exactly. So. 0-0 tie.
All right, everybody. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. Went a little longer than we normally do, but we appreciate Matt Shelton being on. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Instagram, and then look for his book, Rising Through Every Fall, at risingthrougheveryfall.com. And Ken Murphy joining us 37 minutes late. Thanks, Ken. But hi, we love you, buddy. Thanks, Abraham. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you guys in a week. We're going to start going weekly again. And wish Nate a happy birthday tomorrow, 21 years old.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time. Go Irish, beat Aggies.